Upgrade alert, but is it for you? MeteorJS is making a major leap with version 3.0, now in beta. And we've got the exclusive insights from Meteor Software's CEO. Discover why this upgrade is a game changer. Stick around as we show you the way forward. It's exciting times, Meteorites. Our podcast today brings you our first interview with Fred Maya, who will share the latest happenings over at Meteor Software and who will shed light on the compelling reasons to upgrade to version 3.0. And as always, we bring you the news from around the community as well as the tech that affects you. If you stick around till the end, you'll find out who'll be joining us next week. Whether you're a seasoned veteran or a developer just starting out, this episode is your ticket to the way forward. You probably figured it out now. You're watching or listening to the 21st episode of This Week in MeteorJS, a weekly news segment of the MeteorJS Dispatches podcast. I'm your host, Alim Gafar, streaming from the outer boroughs of New York City.
I'm Dvorak, aka Storyteller, coming to you from Prague.
I'm Küster and streaming live from Germany.
All right. Now, there's a lot happening in the forums recently. Jan, why don't you fill us in?
Yeah, so we're coming full circle now. So, as you might remember, Meteor invented some great tool back then, the tracker, which is still deeply integrated and the most essential part of this whole UI reactivity we have there, and building on top of that the optimistic UI. And we have now this interesting kickoff for a discussion on this whole new signals and effects that Solid.js introduced, that is hyped around the whole internet and every developer community. And and it's perfectly displayed in this article how similar it looks to a reactive variable, changing parameters, tracker auto run, running automagically, and everybody of us in Meteor is thinking, we saw that like 10 years ago already, and now it's super popular. And I think it's an interesting question to ask, like, where does this come from? What inspired the original MeteorJS creators, the founders, basically, for all that? And where are they inspired? If you have some ideas or some hints, as it already has been done in this article a little bit, join the conversation and please point us to it. I would be very interested. And I would also be totally amazed if actually one of the mentioned founders is responding to that. That would be also terrific, right?
Yeah, so I think this is it was posted by True Skater, who is a longtime member of the community, and does he actually run one of the Discord communities for Meteor?
Yeah, that I don't know. I know he pointed us to the Discord being a little bit getting.
Yeah, no, he has some opinions about Discord being a better place to be, but I do believe that he's either an admin or he's one of the founders of one of those communities out there. In any case, he's been around a very long time, and this is posted by him, and he's reaching out and asking for people like Matt I don't even know how you say his last name. Is it DeBergalis or DeBergalis? But he was one of the founders, George Schmidt. He's asking for those guys to comment on this, and the hope is might see some activity, or we may not see any at all. Those guys are running Apollo; they're doing a really great job over there, and but it would be nice to kind of get their input into what he thinks about this movement to signals, which is very, very familiar in terms of the behavior for reactive programming for Meteor. So,
I mean, for me, it would be interesting when there's time left somewhere to look at how signals are actually implemented in Solid.js. I mean, if you have the time, for example, to look at tracker, you will see that it's not that big of implementation. I mean, it's no 1,000 lines of code, is it? It's actually not a huge class, and I wonder how they implemented these signals and effects, just to see similarities or differences. But let's see if
Yeah.
there's time for that.
Maybe we can copy something over to Meteor.
Yeah.
You never know.
Actually,
I mean,
there's a
everybody
valid
borrows from everybody else, right?
there is a valid use cases here, right? Because I would love to see how they have solved in Solid this whole async reactivity, because this is somewhat cumbersome as we have it right now solved in place. It's not unsolved, but it's also not solved in the most automagical way that we would all love to see. So that would be an interesting inspiration to see how they solved it. Does it have a great developer experience, and what can we use from it and make Tracker even better, right?
Yep.
All right.
Yes, so hello to everybody in chat. Don't forget to leave us a like to show that you've been here, similar like Waldo was here, or whatever that is. And off to our news, or moving forward with Meteor community. First things first, we have 2 new packages, all the schema index and schema deny. Those 2 packages now complete our collection 2 collection. So we have all the necessary stuff that we can prepare for upgrade in Meteor 3 with collection 2 and its entire, at least the official part of the ecosystem. Just for a quick review, schema index allows you to set up, could say, simple indexes and like restrictions like that specific things need to be unique or sparse, all that stuff. And schema deny has that awesome functionality that it can do stuff like deny update true. So if you try to update that field, it will not allow for it. And moving off, there has been a lot of activity. Jan, I heard that you were on a train for a while and didn't feel like doing any your normal work, so you went and did something else. So what was all that about?
I think everybody who lives in Germany actually definitely knows what this is about when I'm talking about I went by train today because there's union strike, and it was it was barely possible to go anywhere from A to B. But okay, let's don't talk about that. This is a inherent constant debate in Germany about the Bahn. We actually made things possible. And there are new package updates on the Meteor community package. One of the most important updates is on Meteor testing Mocha, as many packages rely on it for testing right now. And we ask everyone who is currently in this whole updating phase, as we already told you so many times, please report in open issues, anything. This is beta phase also for the packages. We need to get feedback from everyone because everybody is using these packages, and any update issues can be resolved right now. We're in a good loop of constant development right now, so please let us know. Big thanks to Harry, by the way, who already reported into things, which I will move on. I also talked a little bit about in this what's the next upcoming packages, especially on the Blaze side, Tabular, Autoform, Simple Schema, which is also now possible due to what Jan said with the schema index and schema deny. So hopefully this can all resolve in the next weeks.
Yeah, and we'll be trying to get as much out there as possible. I will be over the weekend also getting into schema index and schema deny fixes or kind of beta releases. Just one big thing, as you notice, most of these are kind of like beta releases. So you will have to make manually sure that you actually have those versions. You will not be automatically updated to them because they are beta releases. So make sure for that. Some releases, like here, publish composite is just a regular release and has the 3.0 beta in its versions. And that's just because usually that there are like no breaking changes, or things can live side by side as well. So make sure to kind of check out for the beta releases on those packages.
And just because we're talking about releases and the beta, there is something I didn't know, and I was actually struggling with these releases. Like, I had really a hard time because I wanted to publish them, and everything was set up. The test project was set up. The versions were all correct, and then I wanted to publish, and I always got the message that there is a top-level conflict. And what I didn't know is that because of the top level being my Meteor 2.14, I didn't know that I had to explicitly tell Meteor Publish which release to use for publish. And I opened an issue on that, and I got, by chance, in the forums, I got a comment from Zodern that I have to use -- release is 3.0 and so on. And but for this issue, there is also a pull request right now, and we also got another comment from Southern that there are actually even more commands on Meteor that support these -- release options. So if you're struggling with your updates and the package updates and have these top-level version conflicts, it might be the case that you should try out -- release in order to get things done. That was quite a struggle at that day, right?
So are you saying on the command line you would do -- release, and then you would put the name of the package at version number?
No, that you would put the release number as you would do with Meteor publish -- release equals. No, you have to after the release, I think you would have to either an equal. I put an equal. I don't know if it works without an equal, but definitely that's what I did, and it was.
Can you make this a little larger so that others can see it? Okay, great.
Yeah, that worked out. Maybe you put the equal after that, because that was what I was doing, and it was basically working out then, right? So with that command, the top level, the so-called top level, will use this release as a base for resolving the dependencies. And
okay,
there is also a pull request from Zodern, but it's in a draft state where it's about explaining this mysterious top level a little bit more, because it's sometimes very mysterious what actually top level refers to. Is it the project I'm in? Is it my global Meteor installation? Or what is it actually?
And for the people that are not used to specifying the package number when they're adding packages, what would that command line look like if you're going to specify specific package versions? Could we bring a console back up and just show them for a second what that might look like?
Actually, I'm not doing it using the command line. Jan, are you doing it using the command line? Because I'm using it usually by editing the meteor.meteor/packages file.
Right. So there are two ways to do it, but you can do it with the install packages, right? So.
So Jan is opening just the file right now. We can easily show both. I think that.
Yeah, I think we should. Right. That's very helpful, I think.
So in your Meteor project, there is always this .meteor folder. It's like the Meta project folder, and this one contains and you can open the test app, for example. There is this test app, and there's this .meteor folder. And then in this Meteor folder, there are two important files when it comes to packages. That is the .packages file, the release file, which release you have, and the versions file. And if you want to pin a new package version, then you have to open the packages file. Yes. And then when you have a package to be added, then you see already after an update, often they get this add version number. And then if you want to do that manually, you have to find the right version number. Otherwise, it will tell you like can't resolve constraints on package something, right? And then, for example, here, if you want to pin roles to the beta version, you would have to write aligning roles at 4.0.0 minus beta.7. And on the command line, you would have to do the same, I assume. We can try that out. I didn't do it with the command line, actually, because that took too much time for me. Maybe someone in the chat knows about this.
So I think it's I think the syntax is, and actually Fred is in the background here. So why don't I bring him in, and maybe he can help us with this. So Fred, the command line for adding a package, it's isn't it Meteor install package name?
Let me see, what command are you trying?
We're trying to figure out, like, we're trying to show people if they wanted to install a specific version of a package to their Meteor application, what would they run on the command line?
Meteor add, right? Not Meteor install.
Oh, it's Meteor add. That's right. I'm sorry. Meteor add. Yeah.
And Meteor add, then the package name and at version.
At version number. So that's how you can specify it directly on the command line. Okay.
Exactly.
The what you were demonstrating right now in the background here is not showing because we have the overlay, so nobody has actually seen the command itself. So there we go. So that's what it would look like. Where is it? Okay. Live coding, always exciting, never a dull moment. And by the way, with us right now is, the big papa of Meteor, the CEO, Fred Maya. And I just want to mention, by the way, that Fred also became a real papa last year. How has it been with the young one, Fred?
Yeah, it's been great. There are many new challenges every day, but it is amazing to be a dad.
That's terrific, man. That's terrific.
Yeah.
So
I would show him. I would show him for you today, but he is in a medical appointment right now.
Okay.
Because he's completing 7 months today.
Wow. Yeah. Those days go fast. They change so quickly.
Exactly. Yeah. Like he's very different. Like every month, it's a completely new kid.
Totally. It's very exciting, I think. I remember when Fred told me more than a year ago that he was expecting, or his wife was expecting. If Fred was expecting, this would be a miracle. It would be like we would tell everybody about it. But no, it was a very exciting time because Fred, it changed your lifestyle, didn't it? You used to be what do you call it? A nomad? What was that called?
Yeah, I used to be a digital nomad.
A digital nomad.
Yeah, I stayed traveling for about 2 years without, a fixed place. And in that time, we met in New York. And I traveled to many different cities and countries.
And so he told me that he was not going to be moving from Brazil for a while because his wife was having a baby. So this is terrific news, and it's great to see. And
then he decided to come back to Brazil to have him near to the family. And
Okay, so speaking of new and old, we also have here the long ongoing topic of having SQL with Meteor. And besides there being specific packages for that, we also have here called something FerretDB, which just released 1.18 version, which now has uplog support. And the idea is that with FerretDB, you can replace use of MongoDB. You can still pretty much use all the MongoDB commands, but it will go, instead of to MongoDB, it will go to PostgreSQL or SQLite. And here we have from our weekend team, also in chat, Lori posting about this news on the forums.
Yeah.
So if you are more adventurous or for some reason need to use PostgreSQL with your Meteor, this is one option how you can do that and still enjoy all the Meteor packages there. So it's moving there. As Laura is saying, it might not be working for everything, but it's been something that the FerretDB team has been working on, and I do believe we also have they have been also using Meteor as one of the test cases to get the support and all the functionality there. So it, of course, as always, it depends on the application, how it's going to develop or kind of move forward. Because if you have like very specific things in your application, it's of course it's going to be more different than if you have just a plain Meteor install, which same thing like with upgrading to Meteor 3. If you have just all the only official packages, you are not going to have any problems with dependencies being issued with the update. But if you have a lot of community packages, some which have not been updated in years, then you're more likely to run into problems.
Maybe
so is this considered a drop-in replacement for Meteor? I'm sorry, for MongoDB?
That is my understanding.
Yeah, I think so. I can share a little bit about FerretDB just because we had a meeting with them in the past year. They were trying to understand like how they could support Meteor, and one of the main questions was about uplog, because if it was not because of Meteor, they wouldn't work on this because it was a huge task. But then we told them that if they want to support Meteor, they would have to support uplog. And then they started working on it. So I can say that it seems to be a solid project and a drop-in replacement for MongoDB. Like the engine itself, it is Postgres. And then they built kind of an API, a wrapper that uses the MongoDB API. So it's very interesting that like even when you are connecting to FerretDB, you use the same URL string as we would use with MongoDB. So the API is the same as MongoDB, but the engine itself, it's Postgres. So and they are like selling themselves as a truly open source alternative for MongoDB. Yeah, to MongoDB.
And my other question is, in terms of the reactive behavior that does the updates from MiniMongo, does MiniMongo work with FerretDB as if it were native? As if it was native MongoDB?
It should be. We have a DevOps engineer here that would start testing FerretDB today at Meteor to see like how it is behaving, like if it works like it is expected. But it should work because if uplog support is there, so MiniMongo should work as well.
Sounds amazing.
Maybe
and even without
uplog
support, they said that it was working before, but we haven't tested because they were using the pooling option and not using uplog.
Küster?
Maybe also we should explain a little bit why FerretDB is so interesting when it comes to the business perspective and the licensing terms. Maybe this is also something that people who don't know FerretDB might be interested in.
Yeah, I know that like in some companies they have to use, or they decided to use only open source projects, and then the license might become an issue when they are using MongoDB. So I know that I forgot the name of the company. It was Blue something. It's a big company that is using Meteor, and they wanted to use FairyDB, and then they were, testing FairyDB with them very closely, so they could have a big case of Meteor with FairyDB. But that was like kind of a long time ago. We didn't talk to them for a while.
Was that the big blue button? Or
yeah, exactly, big blue button.
Okay, yeah, terrific.
I think there is a part of the MongoDB license that prevents you from providing a service that will be actually a competitor to MongoDB Atlas or something like this, which why this here Supabase, Firebase style service or like Atlas like service you can't build it on your own easily like that without getting into some legal trouble. I read that sometime. I don't know if that changed, but that would be, of course, a deal breaker with FairyDB, right? Because then it wouldn't apply. You could build some Meteor-based services and don't have any trouble that you provide something like Atlas, but with Meteor and Farad.
Yeah, I think so. And also, some companies prefer Postgres. So by the end of the day, you're running a Postgres database. Like if you open the FairyDB website and see like how you can run it in a Docker image, you're running Postgres and the FairyDB service.
Okay, guys, let's move on from this because we spent quite a bit of time on it, and it's actually a good topic. We lost Storyteller. It looks like he's coming back to life. Let's see. Oh, he's breathing again, but we're not hearing him. He is muted right now. Jan, you can unmute yourself at some point.
Apologies, I'm not sure what happened. Some of the internet fell down.
It's all this European, disorder that's happening these days.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's any such thing, but Jan, we have closed on the last topic, and now we're moving forward. And I want to say, if life's a game, then you know where the gamers go. So it should come as no surprise that the developers at Meteor Software are getting into the game, specifically getting onto the biggest game streamer. Fred, what's the thinking behind live streaming on Twitch?
I think it's a natural choice when you talk about live coding nowadays. Twitch, and I just want to make clear that Twitch will be our main live stream channel, but some of the content will be streamed at the same time on both Twitch and YouTube. But Twitch is one of the most used platforms for live streaming in general, and including live coding. It has a large and active community of streamers. And also Camila, that is our new tech community manager. She knows all about the features that Twitch offers to create a kind of dynamic live coding with, like, there are so many features that I don't know how to mention them, but there are many cool things that you can do on Twitch that you can't on YouTube, for instance. And Camila knows all about it. So basically, the main reason is I think Twitch is the most used live streaming nowadays, and including for live coding.
All right. You guys have any questions or comments here before I grab Fred and we get right into our next segment?
I'm fine.
Yeah. All right. Well, Fred, you talking about Camila is a great segue into where we're going next. So for those of you who have not met him before or don't know, this is Fred Maya. Fred is the CEO of Meteor. We worked together a little over a year ago, right? Doing some interesting things, having some very interesting conversations, and sharing the growth of Meteor from its transition from MDG over into Tiny's management. And so, Fred, why don't you give us a little bit about your background, how long you've been with Meteor and so on. Let people know a little bit about you.
Sure. I'll try to be quick because that's a long story. I started my software development career in 2008, so like 15 years ago. I worked with many programming languages like Java, Groovy, Scala, JavaScript, TypeScript, and even Objective-C. I worked in companies across Brazil, Ireland, the Netherlands, and American companies. And in 2015, I discovered MeteorJS, and I became a user and a kind of advocate as well. So I presented about Meteor in local events. I created a Meteor meetup in my hometown, and I even developed a MeteorJS course in a training company that I had in the past. So I know Meteor for a very long time. And before joining Meteor Software, I was working at Pathable. That, as far as I know, they had one of the biggest MeteorJS projects. And then after leaving Pathable, I joined Meteor Software. I became the CTO, and a few months later, I took over the role of CEO. I even wrote a LinkedIn post about it, like my history with MeteorJS. Maybe we can share that in the useful resources.
Sure. Yeah, we definitely can. Okay. Yeah. And so, broadly speaking right now, what are your goals for Meteor and the Meteor project, MeteorJS, and of course, Meteor Software, the company as well? You've gotten some new hires recently. You've been, really a bit on a hiring streak, and picked up some new people in some different roles. How do they fit in? Who are they? How do they fit in? What teams are they on? Give us the lowdown.
The recent two hires was Camila that I have mentioned. She will be our tech community manager. She actually started a few days ago, and she will be the main connection that we'll have with the community. So you might see her face like often in the forums and in our social media. We plan to reactivate our social media. So she will be running our social media. She will be in the forums on Twitter, LinkedIn, Reddit, and she will ensure that the community needs are being addressed and that we are, in synergy. So, and she also knows all about how to run online events. So she will help us a lot with that. So like I said, in the backstage of Twitch channels and the events, the online events that we plan to run this year, she will be helping us with that. And the other hire was Nacho. Nacho and I, we worked together at Pathable, not in the same team, but in the same company. And he is a very experienced software engineer. I think he has like 8 years of experience, and most of it was working with MeteorJS. I know that there are people from the community that knows him, and he will be part of the core team. So he will be working on MeteorJS with Denilson and Gabriel, and helping us finishing what's left for Meteor 3. And then we will move on to plans like improving MeteorDX and improve our mobile support. So there are many things that Nacho has experience that we can use, and it will be beneficial to everyone.
That's terrific. That's terrific. So you mentioned that that there's some additional touch points now that you're having with the community, right? I think we've heard from Gabriel that he's going to be really spending a little more time with us, and probably will be our go-to person that we'll be talking to when we have an episode, which is great. I would love to see Denilson. I would love to see Henrique. I would love to see more of these guys over here because they're good guys, and they have a lot of knowledge. And so while I appreciate getting Gabriel, and Gabriel is exciting, he is fun, he brings a lot of energy. I think it also it gives us a little more of an ability to share, who people are and what they do from time to time if they can make it and if they can join us. And I know that Henrique has a lot of social media experience, and he's great to have. And Danielson is fantastic also. He's terrific. So anybody that is interested in joining us and talking about specific parts of the project and the open source and even cloud, we're happy to have them from time to time. So I just wanted to share that with you. The other thing I wanted to ask you is, so besides Gabrielle, and you said, what was the young woman's name that you said? Camila. Yeah. Who else might the community see more and more of, either in the forums, on the Slack, on channels like this?
We are building a team now that is our DevRel team, the developer relation team, that Tatiana is the manager of this team, and then Camila, the tech community manager, and Gabriel will be the official developer advocate. Like right now, he's splitting his time between coding, open source, and then also doing advocacy. So this is a team that we didn't have at Meteor before, at least not since Tiny acquired Meteor. So this is a new team that you can expect that we will be a lot more present in all the social medias, in events like online events and also local events. So we're planning to run our own events as well. So this team that didn't exist before will help us, spread the word about Meteor and increase our community and, reach to people that maybe don't know Meteor yet, because we know that sometimes we are just talking to the community that we already have, but we are also planning to expand that community, to go out of our own bubble and start going to different events and be part of different communities, and of course try to bring everyone together to our community. So that's the goal of this team for this year.
That's terrific. And so in terms of, let's just switch gears for a minute and let's talk a little bit about Meteor 3.0, because that has been where we've been spending a lot of time over the last 8-9 months, messaging people, and then of course with this podcast itself, we've been talking about it, I guess, since we started in late August. So where does Meteor 3.0 stand right now, and what should users be doing? Are there things that they should be thinking about? Should they be sitting on the sidelines, or should they be actively involved in some way in terms of Meteor? And what should they be doing about their existing projects? So what are your thoughts on
that? Just about Meteor 3, like we are working on that, I think, over a year and a half now. So since I became the CEO of Meteor, that was my main goal and my main challenge, to get Meteor 3 released without fibers. And it's been quite a journey, and we worked hard a lot. Like everyone that is, seeing all the work we are doing, there are many developers involved, other companies involved. So we're working really hard on this. And of course, the help of the community is crucial on that. And I appreciate all the work that the community is doing, the work with the packages that your guys are doing. This is really important to us. But going back to the current state of Meteor, so we just launched Meteor 3 beta, the first beta version. And I think now is the time, like if you, for some reason, were waiting to test Meteor or waiting to see like how Meteor 3 will be, like what's the API will look like. So that's the time to jump in and start testing. I recommend you, if you want to test Meteor 3, to do like we ourselves are doing at Meteor Software. So we have a bunch of projects, and we started migrating, like myself, I migrated Symbol Task, a pet project that I have, a demo project that I have, that the community is using as a reference. So I migrated simple tasks from Meteor 2 to Meteor 3. And it was actually very straightforward because I didn't use many packages. It was a simple project. But I think if you are just starting to test Meteor 3, that's a good one to start. Like take one small project, test it, take one old project and try to upgrade, because then you can see, mainly the API, like what's going to change. Because when you have a big project, of course, you are probably using a lot of packages. And then the challenge is, if that package is not maintained anymore, then you have to, create a fork or ask the MCP to take that package over, or contact the owner of that package and try to help upgrading that project to Meteor 3. So, and then next thing would be to try a small official project that you have on your company. So it's very common for a company to have different projects. So take the smallest one, the less risky one, and start migrating. So I think the message now is that's the time to start testing if you are still waiting. So test on small project, test a pet project. I know that we are lacking on delivering better documentation. We are aware of that. And like the job that Gabriel is doing now as advocacy, one of the main tasks that he has is documentation, is to launch a better migration guide and a new documentation website that we are working on. So that we are planning to launch in a few weeks another version of the migration guide, because now that we have the beta version is the time for everyone to start migrating. And of course, giving feedback to us, because we really need to hear from you what are the main challenges that we're having, so we can try improve in our side. We can try help the community upgrading packages. So we really need feedback now from the community. That's the most important thing. So we will be, we will be ensuring that we have a stable Meteor 3, and then you can finally launch an official release.
So Fred, in terms of getting feedback, is there a preferred method for getting feedback in an organized way that allows you to triage and work through that feedback so that you're productive with handling that feedback and also getting and being responsive to the users?
Yeah, I think the best way is to use GitHub, open issues on GitHub, and let us know like what's going on. But of course, like if you want to give more details on how it was the migration process and you want to share more, I think the forum is still a great place to share, a more broad experience. But if you're having specific issues, GitHub is the best place for us to track that issue and make sure that we're going to work in a fix.
And of course, they could cross-post from a GitHub issue into forums if they want to have more people discuss it that are not in the issue itself. So they just put a link in a forum back to the issue, and so that the conversations can go back and forth. That's a good idea. I think that's very helpful. And what about what's been happening with cloud? Because first of all, I wanted to ask, is there, in terms of responsiveness, there's another issue that I wanted to bring up earlier with regard to the new team, is because we've had this question show up recently, and both Jans and I have been talking about this, is, the issue of having posts that go into the forums or in Slack which don't get any responses whatsoever. Will we be seeing that? Can frustrate users, right? That can frustrate members, because they feel like they're talking to a wall and nobody's getting back to them. And not always is there a possibility of community users coming in and helping. Often we just kind of rely on that to fill in. But in the case of, people that have posted, in some cases it's been up for months and nobody's responded, or even a week. Is this something that the Meteor team is going to be looking at in the future and saying, okay, we'll have an SLA of like, in 5 days, if we don't see something there, we'll at least acknowledge that we've seen the post, even if we don't have an answer, or 2 days or whatever it is? Is that something that you're going to be looking into?
Yeah, we don't have SLAs planned, but again, the role of the DevRel team is to make sure that the community is being heard and is being answered. So this is like, as the CEO of the company, something that I will be, talking to them, ask them. So it's very common in our internal Slack from Meteor software that sometimes we take a topic and then we send in the open source channel and ask them, oh, you should reply there. So that's something that like Camila will start doing, and myself, I will be, asking the DevRel team that if they are not taking care of the community and of the forum, that means that they are not doing their job correctly. So you can expect that we will answer quicker, and of course we not only us, but we are a scout on the community, because sometimes we also don't know the answer. But as you said, we could at least acknowledge that, okay, we don't know that, but let's see if the other someone else from the community can help.
Yeah, I think that's important because, when I've heard back from folks that were talking about the anniversary of Meteor, one of the things that they say that they miss the most is the community and the feeling of the community involvement, right? And so the thing is, if Meteor's community is a differentiator for its technology, right? It's not just the technology, but it's the fact that you can rely on the community and get some response. Then everybody that feels abandoned because they're asking questions but nobody's responding, that hurts that reputation. So, I think to the extent that we can find some way to, at least acknowledge, right, and get close to zero, like all of these open things. If somebody comes in like in a week, we have at least an acknowledgement, right? Then I think that would do much better for building confidence that if you take up Meteor and you have a question, that somebody will get back to you. You aren't abandoned.
Yeah, and not only in the forums, like we were trying to find a tool, and if someone from the community knows a tool like this, but we were trying to find a tool that we could monitor like many different forums and websites. Like if someone mentioned MeteorJS on Twitter or Reddit or Stack Overflow, we should get a notification about it.
I think Küster and I may be working on something like that. So
that's great news.
Yeah. So it's like a unified dashboard.
Yeah, that would help a lot, because sometimes we just focus on the forum, and we maybe on Stack Overflow there are open questions that are not being answered, and there are many other places that they could be mentioned in Meteor, and they are not getting a response.
All right, very good. And of course, what we don't hear a lot from you guys, it's almost like you're embarrassed to talk about it, or maybe you don't want to mention. You have this other part of the business outside of open source, which is a hosting, Meteor Cloud, right? So what's going on with Meteor Cloud?
Yeah, that's the part that pay for everything. So it's very important for us, of course. We're talking a lot, and I think it's kind of the same issue that we've had with Meteor, that we're talking only right now to Meteor developers. We are talking mostly to our customers, but of course we want to expand that, and we have big plans for 2024, and of course we will start hearing more and more about Meteor Cloud as well. And we have a few launches that we're planning to do on the following quarters that I can mention to you. Just let me open my notes here. So like,
is this information that you've shared before, or is this brand new information?
No, it's breaking news.
Breaking news. Okay, all right, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
We are having like a lot of meetings. We had a few meetings in December, and still in the beginning of the year, to define our plan for this year. Some of this plan might change, but I think we have a solid idea now of what we are planning to do, and it is the first time that we are sharing this. So we are planning to share in other channels as well. But yeah, that's breaking news, and only if you are watching MeteorJS dispatches, you get those fresh news from us. So I don't know if you guys make those editions, and you cut the video and post only 1 or 2
We're
minutes.
We're going to be starting. Yeah.
You could use that to get people's attention.
Sure.
Right. So in Q1 will be all about work, but then starting in Q2 we're planning to have a few launches, and in Q2 we plan to run an online event, and in that event we are planning to launch the official release of Meteor 3. That would be in April. That does not mean that the official release will be out in April. We think that we're going to release that earlier, but then we are going to do an event to promote it better, to make more noise, and then on that event launching Meteor 3, we are also planning to launch what we're calling Galaxy 2. So the Meteor Cloud name is going to be phased out, only the name itself, and then we are using again Galaxy as the name of our hosting, and we are creating a completely new user experience, a completely new UI for Galaxy. We are unifying. That's work is already in progress. We are unifying the dashboard and Galaxy itself, because today you have 2 URLs and 2 different places. Even the UI is not the same. So we are unifying those 2 projects in only one. We are calling it Galaxy 2. And then there's even something here in the news that this one is not 100% closed yet, but we made a lot of progress on it, and I believe it will happen. We are planning also to phase out Meteor APM and start offering Monty APM to our customers as well. So we're talking to Southern. We are in the final talks to reach in an agreement, and then our plan is the same way that we provide Meteor APM today for our professional customers. They will have access to Monty APM. So
and
that's
why is this something that people might want rather than just the existing Meteor APM?
Well, one of the main reasons for customers is that Monty APM has more features than Meteor APM today. Southern is like there's a difference in this is a product that Southern is working hard a lot to improve it and also to support Meteor 3. That's also something that we talked internally, and we would have to spend a few months making Meteor APM support Meteor 3. And then we talked about that before, even with Alim when we were working together at Meteor Software. So offering Monty APM, we know that we will be offering a better product for our customers because it is more up to date, it has more features, and also we will be kind of giving back to the community because we are making an agreement with Southern that we will become a kind of enterprise customer for him. So that's also a way of give back to the community and to Southern.
Sure.
And by the end of the day, we are offering a better product to our customers.
That sounds great. Well,
and that's not all for Q2.
What?
That's only Q2, and there's still more in Q2 that we will start offering to our customers MongoDB for production apps. Because right now we just offer MongoDB for testing, just a shared cluster that people can start easily creating a Meteor project. But then in Q2 we will also start offering MongoDB, and then it will be as easy as it is today to create a project with MongoDB, but the free version we are going to offer a production version of MongoDB as well.
Let me understand this. So no longer will you have to go out and assemble these other pieces from other services yourself. Exactly. You'll get it right there in that single experience in Galaxy. You go to Galaxy, you get your database, you get your application running. Those are going to be there together, and you don't have to bring it in. And
what happens often is that people start with our free MongoDB,
Yeah.
And then they have to go to production, and then they have to, oh, let me see which solution I'm going to use. So it will be, right there in the same place, only one place that you're going to have all the services you need to run our MeteorJS applications.
I think that's a great experience to expect,
Yeah.
And
then so then in that, just recapping, because we have a lot, and that's only for Q2. So we're planning to launch a new Galaxy 2 with a lot better user interface and user experience. We're unifying dashboard in Galaxy. We also are, because we are like internally, and that's more with the technical team right now that I'm not part of anymore, but we are making Galaxy a kind of an API, and then we are creating a new project that will consume that API, and that new project will be using Meteor 3. So Galaxy 2 will be running on Meteor 3. That's our plan. And with that, we are, testing in-house, of course, using Meteor 3 in a big project. Galaxy is huge. And we are, with that also, many small packages are being created because the cloud team is working closely with the open source team, and that will make us also release better packages for the community. Like there is one that Gabriel, I think he's here on the chat, that is very similar to TRPC that Gabriel created. And the idea was cool, but it was not polished. And now the team is using that package every day and giving feedback to him. So it is getting a lot better. And we plan to release that as a package, maybe an official package, or maybe just Gabriel's package, but a package that we're using at Galaxy, and it provides a great developer experience. So yeah, there is that. So Galaxy 2 with a new interface, Monty APM, and MongoDB service.
That's exciting. Fred, I'm gonna thank you for this. If you want to stick around, there is there's a hard question I want to ask you later on.
Sure.
But I don't know if you have the time. But we do want to just talk about this blocking issue later on with source maps and what's going on there. But right now we're gonna pop over to our next section, which is the useful resources that folks can benefit from. And when we talk about like moving forward and on this program, we're also talking about moving forward with your careers, and there are plenty of ways that you can do that. 2 ways that we have, and we're going to be bringing them up every episode, is you can go out and learn some more, attend some meetups and some conferences and so on. We've got a list of them. Jan is going to talk to you a little bit about that. And then, of course, responding to calls for papers, which allows us to share more to the rest of the world about what's happening with Meteor, how you use Meteor, how do you solve problems with it, how do you build with it, et cetera, et cetera. So without further ado, I'm going to pass it on to Storyteller to talk about something happening very close to now in Poland.
Yes, so apologies for that. I just hot off the presses. I have just before this, Gabriel Gra reached out to me that he got some free tickets to Congress and Next.js in Poland, and if I want to go. So I said, yeah, sure, why not? So I will be at Congress Next.js in Warsaw on the 2nd of February. If anybody else is located in Warsaw, please let me know either here or on the forums. Preferably on the forums. I have a thread about my Europe tour, and on February 1st, I'll try to organize a meetup if possible. So Congress Next.js, I'll be there as well. As the name suggests, the main thing is going to be about Next.js, but it also covers React, TypeScript, and all the other stuff. You could kind of say that I'm going a little bit undercover to see what everybody else is on about, and hopefully to make some connections there as well.
All right.
So
and I'm going to answer. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. You finishing up?
No. I was just finishing up. So
yeah. And I was just going to remind you guys that if you're listening and you're you're a regular here and you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, please do so. It helps us get noticed more and get promoted by the YouTube algorithm. And it's also great just having you as part of our community. When you click on that subscribe button, you'll get notification when we have a new episode that comes up, and you could stay informed. If you like the episode that you're watching right now, hit the like button. We'd love to have you, join in, and getting more likes is also a good thing. It makes us feel good. So I just want to bring that up before I talk to you guys a little more about the other conferences that are coming up within the next month and a half. And the first one will be NG India in 2024. That's going to be in Delhi, and that's going to be on the 10th of February. On the 15th of February, DevOps.js Conference, which is an online conference, 2024, will occur. That's 15th of February, day after Valentine's Day. And then we have JS World Conference 2024 in Amsterdam, Netherlands, and that happens on February 28th. And then we have Open Source Day in Florence, Italy on March 7th. And we'll round that up with Frontrunners 2024, which I believe is a front-end conference that happens in Washington, D.C. / the Arlington suburb of Virginia, Northern Virginia, and that is on March 8th. So if you guys are interested, check those out, and pop over there and make some friends, and get back to us and tell us what you learned at these conferences, who you met, what's new that's happening, what are the cool things that we should know about and others should know about. So there's a good chance that if you hit one of these conferences and have a nice summary to give, we'd be happy to have you here giving it to us. That doesn't sound good. But sharing that with us. Oh boy, they're gonna censor this one. All right. And next up are the call for papers. And this is an opportunity for you to share what you I know that for many people that have been part of the Meteor New York world, who have presented, have gone on and have found great success in their careers, it has been a big lifter. And so with that said, there is the App.js conference in Krakow that is coming up. I'm going to give you the deadlines for these call for papers. So these are the ones that are coming close pretty soon. So that's the 28th of January. So in another week or so, or 2 weeks, there will be this, the App.js conference is going to close their call for papers. You might want to check that out and see whether or not that is something that you might want to make a submission to. Then there is Node TLV in Tel Aviv at the end of January, January 31st. So take a look at that. Then there's Cascadia.js, which is going to be held in Seattle, and their call for papers deadline is the 4th of February. Node Congress, which is an online event, has their call for paper deadline at the 11th of February. JavaScript and Friends in Columbus, Ohio is on the 13th of February. And JS Conference Ireland, and it's going to be held in Dublin, is on the 29th of February. This is a leap year, and that is the last day of the month that they're going to have that. And then two more, and they seem to be related because they're both held in Amsterdam on the same day. And their deadline is also the same day, the 3rd of March, and that's JS Nation and React Summit. And there are different URLs for that. We'll post those a little later, and so that you can get access to that. And with that, I am done with these useful resources. All right. Do we have any shout outs, guys? Is there anybody that we should mention? Because I do have one.
Go ahead then.
Okay. So we were expecting our friend Max Savin, who is CEO of Meteor Toys, to join us today, but he unfortunately has had a family emergency. He's back in New York, and we're going to have to reschedule with him. So Max, I hope things work out. And, we would have loved to have had you today, but but that's okay. Take care of what you got to take care of, and then we'll get together again in the future. You can tell us all about the new projects that you're working on and what useful tools Meteor developers are missing if they're not getting them from you. Okay. And with that, we have a couple of upcoming deep dives, hot topics. I'm going to turn it over to the Jan brothers.
Yes. So we have just before this scheduled our next Meteor 3 deep dive, focusing on packages. That one is going to be on January 25th at 10 a.m. Central European Time. So mark your calendars. Apologies to Americans, unless you wake up, middle of the night. You'll be catching this as a recording. And we will have news about the Blaze panel next week. Anything else, Jan?
Regarding the deep dives, no. I just posted it in the chat.
So I think the warning out there for you guys that are on the Blaze panel, little insider information. The panel had a pre-meeting back in December, but for scheduling issues, we couldn't do a live meeting afterwards. But for all you guys that were in that pre-meeting, you're going to be hearing from the Jan brothers. We're going to try to get this thing going because it's been a little longer than we expected. All right. And let's go on here. We had Fred, but now we don't. And we were going to try to have this discussion about the source maps issue. I think maybe he's popped off because, he's CEO. He's got CEO things to do. Or maybe he's talking to people about the question that we have here. But let's skip on to that and get to some reminders about things that have transpired. And
yes. And we can always have Fred or somebody else from the team next time. Probably for the source map, It will be probably somebody who is more closer to that. So I just want to give a reminder that last Friday I did a, let's say, Express.js deep dive and how it works with Meteor 3. What's the difference between Connect and Express and all that stuff. So you can check that on my channel. And on Monday, I did a Hono.js, I would say not a deep dive, but a dip, where I check it out. I compared it with Express.js. And in short, I was pretty impressed. It reminded me of some of the things that, let's say, we liked with Meteor when it started in many aspects. At the same time, I'm kind of worried if the developers haven't gotten too much over their head, but that's another story. So check those out. Once we are past Meteor 3 release, I will probably be looking into if Hono at that time is still a potential, thing to move forward to from Express.js as we move to Meteor 4 and beyond.
Wow. Well, I don't have anything to add there. I thought I had something, and then it's like whatever was here just went away. It's empty head.
And kind of for the next 2 weeks, I'm not doing any technical streams because I did the special one on Express. So this upcoming Monday, I'm just reviewing. We're kind of continuing in the saga of The Great House, which is kind of my philosophy on family. And then after that, let me double check that. So yes, The Great House. And my apologies. Then after that, on January 22nd, I will be building the Meteor Community Packages website with Meteor 3. See how far I can get on that. And that's what I will leave you for my scheduling.
All right. And I just want to say hi, a shout out to everybody on the chat today. Elon Musk has come back again. I guess I wanted to ask him about how the Cybertruck has been doing, but maybe we'll save that for next week. Tatiana has been here. Min has joined us today also. Gabrielle has been on the chat. I have here somebody new to me, Milan Zygmunt. I don't know Milan. I haven't met Milan before. Maybe I have, maybe I haven't. But in any case, Milan, thank you for coming today, and let's roll out version 3 already. Thanks for all your hard work. Awesome. We also have our friend Lori from Wecken, who's been on the chat also. Rodrigo Armand. Hi, Rodrigo. I guess Rodrigo is also somebody I don't recognize off the top. Forgive me if we've met before and I just don't remember, but I'm old. That's what happens to old people. Like, things don't like stay there. Hi, Lasad. It's good to see you again. I think I mentioned Gabrielle. John Morrow. I don't know John, but hey, John. Thank you for giving that information, Meteor ad, when we were in the midst of trying to remember what the actual command line parameter was. And yeah, it's been a good bunch of folks out here today. And of course, Kelly. Kelly is our biggest cheerleader. He's the one who makes sure that people show up. We should have a medal for Kelly, because without Kelly, I don't know how we could go on. It's he's one of the best ambassadors that we have out here. And I think within the next 3 episodes, we're going to be talking about the new ambassador program that we've been putting together, the community ambassador program. We have some ideas how that will work and how you too can become a Meteor community ambassador, what you need to do in order to get that little medal that says, I am a Meteor ambassador. And maybe we'll get some nameplates and so on that we can work with Meteor software to get out there as part of the, as part of their outreach and developer advocacy. So I think that'll be a cool thing. And with that, I think we're wrapping things up this week. What do you guys think? I've just got one last thing to say, which is who's coming up. And he may not remember, but Kevin Newman had agreed to show up next week. So Kevin, hopefully we're going to get to see you. And Felipe will be joining us next week. And we're going to be chatting a little bit about some of the experiences that he's had with some large-scale migrations of Meteor applications, and what's been going on in terms of his development, and of course what's been happening with his hosting company that you guys might have heard about. So if there's nothing else, sayonara.
See you around, everybody.
Right.
Have a great week.